and ball. Embarrassment high on their cheeks, they worried their bottom lip ever. He's going to think I'm unprofessional. I gotta get it together. I won't I wasn't expecting him to be here. Vaughn dug a hand through their hair, eyes still on the guild leader. He adjusted his vest, a smirk. By the way, I'm only streaming one chapter today. That is very clear. Pulling on his lip in Ball's direction, and Ball, his levity, was palpable. Despite a calm composure, the glint in his eyes promised nothing short of bloodlust. Oh boy, this is fucking tense. They think anxiously. They need to intercede. How do you diffuse the situation? Change the topic or offer Ball physical reassurance? You can tell it's early because I'm yawning. Yeah. Vaughn gave a gentle tug on Ball's sleeve, his shoulders visibly easing in response, gaze shifting to the hunter. Ball's eyes were warm, crinkling at the edges as he offered Vaughn a brief, private smile. Vaughn flushed, giving Ball's hand a gentle squeeze. Pull yourselves together, they chided. Vaughn slowly pulled away once more, sliding their hands into their pockets to refocus on the task at hand. So, should we head into the guild post? They pressed. Glancing over to Averly, Vaughn gave a short wave in her direction. Everyone is behaving. She shot down the alley as she approached. Yeah, Vaughn sighed. All good. Looking between the three of them, her eyes narrowed, unimpressed. If you say so. The guild is a great idea, Vaughn, Everest echoed, cutting off Lee, his voice dropping as he turned to face Vaughn fully. Lead the way. Right, Vaughn exclaimed, the approval soothing a part of them they hadn't acknowledged before. Ball gritted. Wow. Ball gritted his teeth, a sigh escaping his nose as he nodded his head in quiet acquaintance. Following a step behind the group, guild outposts were comfortably familiar no matter which branch, not to mention eerily similar to their layout and decor, such as the guild sigil embezzled on the back wall of the main room. Ever sighed as he stepped in. I don't know why I am yawning so much this time. I don't normally yawn this much during. I do apologize. Ever sighed as he stepped in. The smell of books. Comforting, isn't it? He turned to Vaughn, a sly grin playing on his lips as they flushed in embarrassment. Gods, there's no way he's bringing that up now. A couple of members sat nestled in the corner, looking up at the slight commotion. Realization and horror darted across their expressions as they shot to their feet, bowing without hesitation. Master Everos! Afternoon, Captain! Afternoon, gentlemen, he nodded. I've not heard that sound in a long time. Afternoon, gentlemen, he nodded, sparing the group a second glance as he strolled past and up the main desk. Yeah. The clerk at the front was diligently, oblivious to the company before them, but as Everest cleared his throat, he leaned in, now hovering over the smaller man. "Afternoon," he drawled, voice low. "Ah!" The man choked, face scarlet, mind struggling to arrange a response. "Master Avros, why are you here?" Is there, is there no thought in the brilliant mind as to what could have summoned me here? To perhaps a case that this branch is either too scared or too incompetent to close. His sarcasm was condescending, but contrasted bitterly with the playful smirk. Playful smirk still painting his features. "The what? I, yes, one moment, sir." He stumbled back, eyes still on Avros as he disappeared behind the door. Evelyn looked to Vaughn, a single eyebrow raised. A man in power, getting off on said power. Good to see the sky still blue," she muttered, eyes rolling. It is literally 10:19 in the morning. I do apologize, everyone. Vaughn laughed, lightly, sparing a glance at Paul. He was the picture of poised disinterest, seeming unaffected by Avros's cavalier attitude. He buffed his knuckles against the velvet of his coat, inspecting his gloves again. "Okay, very disinterested. A bit over the top, Ball. Dear gods," one pleaded to themselves. "Sorry, I have to up my microphone power. I will eventually have it. I have a mic that I'm going to test out this tomorrow, so if I can find it. So I hope that will help on mic situation. So much for clearing the air," they whispered, shoulders slumping. I wonder what they talked about before I got there. They were definitely arguing about something. Vaughn dug the heel of the bombs into the hollows of their eyes, stress weighing heavily in their consciousness. "I feel you, man. I'll ask Ball about it later. Good to know my entire team hates my boss," Vaughn thought, defeated. Shit, this is gonna be rough. I need to close this case quickly. Glancing back at the broad expanse of their guild leader's shoulders, Vaughn watched, as Everest toyed mercilessly with the sheepish attendant. After a couple minutes, he returned to the group, almost piled high with folders. "Always nice to find people so willing to help," he cooed. "So, have you all got a home base yet?" "We'd only just arrived before you ran into us." Ball bit out, tone cold and stagnant. "We've yet to make it to the end. I have a room over at the orchard." He began walking out the guild. "The New Year's festivals has almost all the ends fully booked." "Oh shit, really?" Vaughn blurted, immediately cursing themselves for the crass response. Everest paused, turning to Vaughn, one eye. I shit you not, Vaughn," he quipped. "The orchard, on the other hand, is the edge of the district. Quite inconvenient for those traveling to the Hilton Center. There should still be some rooms." "Serious?" Vaughn deadpanned. "I'm afraid so, sir," he said, uncertain. "The only rooms left are single rooms." Emily snickered, looking between Vaughn and Paul. "Oh my, an entire night without each other. Whatever shall you do?" she teased, leaning against Paul dramatically. Everest turned to Vaughn, his brow raising at the insu- insinuation, and Vaughn spun back towards the attendant, shoving the coins across the counter. That's fine. 3 rooms, then, they choked. The attendant smiled, placing the key on the counter, and Vaughn apologized as they grabbed them. Rounding away from Averross's curious gaze, they handed a key to Avonlea and Paul. And Paul's fingers lingered a moment longer than necessary. Oh, but Paul, man, you're so freaking hot. Soft crimson eyes, luminescence as he took the key, giving Vaughn the kindest smile in response. Thank you, Vaughn, he whispered. No problem, Vaughn muttered, barely audible, their voice cracking. I haven't slept without him in so long. They cursed themselves under their breath. Ooh, okay. I have things to work on. Um, I'm trying to. Okay, hold on. Happy, anger. Happy, sad, angry, not anger. How do you spell angry? There we go. Dude, I can't spell, y'all. I do apologize. Happy, sad, angry, flustered, confused. What's another expression that's really common? I'm trying to think through my book, sorry. I'm helping my artist at the moment. One second. There we go. I'll think of one more. It's fine. Alright. I haven't slept without him in so long, they cursed themselves under their breath. Ashamed that they still couldn't find the courage to be honest with Paul or anyone really about their feelings. I've looked up to I've looked up to Avaros for years. I just want my captain to be proud of me. Would he really care if I had a partner? No, that's not the issue. It's because Paul's a vampire. Guilt descended on Vaughn's mind, torn between old biases and their. So, what's the plan? Emily asked, interrupting Paul's. She twirled the iron key around the manicured fingers. Well? Oh, one voice. Well, Avros interjected. Tomorrow is the beginning of the full moon cycle. Once again, And considering the murders haven't occurred in almost a month. What? How do you know that? Vaughn countered. Iris flashed them a pile of folders he'd gotten from the guild. I skimmed these while we were walking here. He handed them to Vaughn. Well, I think it's pretty apparent what we're dealing with. Read up. We can all reconvene in the morning? Evelyn. Sure. Whoa, sure, Ball stated, eyes narrowing at Avros, the firm press of his shoulders against Vaughn's. Yeah, sounds good. We need to get materials in the morning so we're properly prepared for whatever we encounter tomorrow night. Perfect. Avros smirked, glancing through the open door and darkening the street beyond it. Let's see if we can't rid this quaint town of its current monstrosity. Ball grunted, turning from the group without a word to either companion. Vaughn found Evelyn's gaze, but she simply shook her head. Later, she whispered. The orchards and rooms had the decor and feel of practically every inn Vaughn had ever stayed in. Yet half the space. Fuck, if Avaros wasn't right about this being a small inn, you can barely breathe in here. The bed barely fit one person comfortably, and the small table and chair were barely an arm's length from the bed. Sighing, Vaughn dumped their folders into a small desk, shrugging off their jacket before settling in. Vaughn had been hurt over the desk for a couple of hours now, having opted out of making dinner to make sure they could get through all the files. I gotta make sure I read up on all this, considering my luck. One thing I don't read will be most important, Vaughn yawned, rereading a section for the third time. The only pleasant side effect to their menial research was the fact that the case study took up enough of Vaughn's complex thinking that they could ignore the nagging guilt of not checking in on Ball. I know he gets it, but still, they thought back to the soft touches. His subtle reassurance, but Vaughn wanted to talk to him about it. Damn it, focus! They slammed their hands down on the desk. Clearing their throat, they peeked up to the papers, blinking away tears as they refocused. Vaughn was halfway through the pile of crime scene reports, witness statements, and evidence inventories when they heard the knock at the door. Come in? Vaughn shouted, eyes not leaving their report in hand. Oh, Lord. A hunter with an unlocked door. You've grown careless, Vaughn. Evers Mark scolded. Vaughn's neck whipped over their shoulder, dropping the report as they tumbled out of their seat. Why is he here? Avros, get out. Curious, late night visit to my room. Or skip extra moments with Avros. Well, I want to see which way it takes us. I don't care which way we go, so I use both my hands. So, okay, we're going normal route that I normally go. Got it. Get out, Vaughn said flatly, willing their embarrassment to extinguish. They were only halfway through the files. I don't need any distractions. I'll never get this done otherwise. Oh, so commanding, he smirked. An interesting look for you. I like it, he mocked. He licked his lips as a smirk curved his noble lips. His amber gaze flickered mischievously. Oh, don't tell me that's all, he sneered from the doorway. I was really enjoying it, Vaughn. But you're just no fun, huh? Pity. I wouldn't mind someone commanding me around once in a while, If it was you. He winked at Vaughn. Vaughn gasped in surprise, their ears burning. Averos! They exclaimed, breathless. Spotting taunt as they awaited further reprimand, the man was a walking jump scare. But as their captain closed the door behind them, one swallowed. Averos Averross's chuckle was deep, striding towards Vaughn. He closed the distance between them, pressing a little too closely into their personal space for their comfort. He sighed, leaning over them as his chest inches from their face, as blue strands brushed against their cheek. It was only it was only as he straightened up and pulled away did Vaughn notice the paper bag he'd placed atop the reports. They'd been too busy desperately willing themselves to breathe. Avos? Their captain echoed in their previous words shyly. How very familiar. Am I no longer your captain? A smirk began to pull at his delicate lips. Vaughn flushed, just now realizing their mistake, mortification swelling in the pit of their stomach. Oh gods, I'm sorry, Captain. They ran their hands through their hair and down their face. Barbaros intercepted the movement, catching her wrist, pushing it down against the paper bag. The movement had bridged the gap between them, and heat shot across Vaughn's face, as the fabric of Averross's top brushed against their cheek. Enough, Vaughn. I was joking. Y- oh, yeah, of course. Vaughn flushed in embarrassment. Vaughn couldn't think properly. The room, Averross, it was all becoming stiffening. So they spun, annoying how the movement brushed too much of them against too much of him, and instead fixated on the paper bag in their hand. Barbaros was either oblivious or cruel, because he leaned in impossibly closer. Eat. I bet I brought you some food. His voice softened. It gave Vaughn's heart a pause, having never heard him sound so kind. Vaughn's brows furrowed in confusion, but they pushed through the emotion, opening the bag to find a delicately, delicately wrapped meal inside. Ham and cheese, cucumber and cream, or muffaletta? Oh, it's a type of sandwich. Okay. Vaughn took a long breath, closing their eyes and pulling themselves back into the moment. Oh, Vaughn said weakly, reaching up to the bag. Thank you, Captain. Ross is fine. Vaughn's head snapped back to their captain, but he merely shrugged, stepping away. I've never instructed anyone to greet me as such. No one, someone did it years ago, and it stuck. He looked up as if contemplating the origin. I still can't figure out why. His dark brow furrowed as his gaze fell to the floor. Vaughn stopped, unwrapping the sandwich, turned an incredulously glance over their shoulder, laughing despite themselves. What do you mean? Are you telling me you don't realize how you speak to people? Vaughn joked, biting into the sandwich. How I speak to people? Avars edged. He looked genuinely perplexed as he crossed his arms. And how exactly do I speak to people, Vaughn? Vaughn nearly lost his grip of their meal, overwhelmed by being his sole focus. His gaze held a burning intensity. They look a hurry. They took a hurried bite of their food, trying to calm their mind before looking back at the reports below them. Vaughn? Wrong voice. Vaughn? He pressed. Vaughn heard him step closer. His shoulders bumped softly into Vaughn's as he lowered himself to Vaughn's height, trying to catch Vaughn's gaze. "Answer me," he laughed. He leaned over the table, eyes locked with his younger charge. He smiled softly at them. Vaughn inhaled deeply, slowly placing the food down and furrowing their brow. "I don't know," they breathed, looking away from him. "Sometimes it's like they're beneath you," Vaughn choked out. A touch too loud, they stared firmly at the reports beneath their hands, missing the way the warmth fell from his eyes. Avros pulled away. "Aren't they?" He whispered, his throat bobbed with emotion, and a small slimmer of annoyance bubbled up in Vaughn. "Captain or not, he doesn't need to make him better than those he leads." Vaughn felt heat behind their eyes. "Thanks for the sandwich," Vaughn replied coldly, scrambling to find their confidence. As they turned back to their captain, "I still have a lot to look over before tomorrow, and if you don't mind," Vaughn pressed, hoping to insinuate their point. "Oh," his gaze numbly fell to the forgotten sandwich. "So you want me to leave?" And Vaughn couldn't decipher the many fine emotions that seemed to flash through his gaze. Yeah, Vaughn responded awkwardly. They looked away from him, feeling oddly guilty. Yes, he was just trying to be nice. Or no. Um, while this is going, I'm going to update. I'm going to start trying to screen record my streams on Dorian. So I may not be live streaming on YouTube um as often, especially when I'm like just reading or if I'm duo streaming. However, I will also continue streaming on YouTube. Um, like especially if it's something like this or if I'm just kind of working or whatever. Because I will also probably end up streaming this, but I could also stream, record, and then post it to YouTube. So just kind of ideas floating out there. Evra stepped back and turned to leave, and Vaughn sighed as they looked back to the kind offering on their desk. "Wait," Vaughn shouted as Evra halted, his hand atop the handle. He didn't look back. "Hey," Vaughn leaned forward, trying to get his attention. It's very early. I am so sorry. "Hey," Vaughn leaned forward, trying to get his attention. They watched his shoulders tense, but Everest glanced back. "I'm sorry," Vaughn sighed. "Thank you for the food. Really, I'm just stressed. I don't want to screw this up." And why are you stressed?" he asked. Vaughn laughed, and Everest inclined an eyebrow in response, as if truly did not know why Vaughn could be so stressed. "Look, despite how you are sometimes, you are my captain. It's kind of a big deal to work on a case with you." The silence that followed had Vaughn flicking their glance to the floor in embarrassment. Why isn't he saying anything? The wood creaked as eyebrows crossed the room. Vaughn gasped when he grabbed their chin, pulling their gaze up to them. "You're right. I do need to work on how I speak to my peers." He paused, following thickly. "But you shouldn't stress about something so silly. I am just your captain." He pulled his hand from them softly. Vaughn didn't look away, so they didn't miss the way his breath seemed to catch as his gaze fell onto their mouth, or how he tentatively stepped closer, his amber gaze settling warmth on cerulean once more, and Vaughn's eyes widened. This wasn't right. You're right. Thank you, Vaughn breathed, as they quickly returned around, putting their back to him again. Ah! I want to show y'all this because yes, but also yeah, why at the same time? I don't know if y'all can see it. There's so much happening with the lighting. Y'all get the idea. It's not in full detail, but if y'all want to see it in full detail, go to Dorian. Avros's gaze softened against the gentle reboot of his hand falling to rest gently against Vaughn's waist. His right hand sliding over the papers scattered on the desk, his focus seemingly no longer on the hunter. So, the case, he pointed to a report. See here? I'm. Oh, this is Avros. So, the case. He pointed to a report. See here? I mentioned it happened only on the full moon cycle. This is. This was the last attack, which was on the final day of the full moon. Vaughn flushed. They could barely focus on his words. His hands were warm, and uh, his broad shoulders engulfed them like balls. This new position almost comforting. I'm being made. Fuck, why am I comparing him to Paul? Why do I feel like this? I don't want to move. I'm shifting. I do apologize. Vaughn glanced up at Avaros, unable to tear their gaze from his face. His hair was a wild mess of blue silk. The lantern light glowing softly against his skin and hair, his expression soft and kind. His traveled lower, noting he seemed smaller without their coat. I never how small, how narrow his waist was. Vaughn thought of Ball's broad shoulders and lithe waist, and they chewed the inside of their mouth as their face flushed. They looked down. Their gaze then fell to the large ivory hand, now resting against their elbow, drawing soothing patterns into their skin as he spoke, and Vaughn gulped, feeling their face burn. Fuck, even their hands are practically the same size. Vaughn bit their lip, longing for a familiar embrace of their vampire, but unnervingly entranced by the warm embrace of their captain. But Vaughn, Avros breathed, pulling them from their internal war. His gaze was questioning. Vaughn looked back up at him. He smelled like fire, charred oak, harsh, smoky, and concerningly intoxicating. Vaughn nearly lost himself in his ember gaze. To be true, they'd always looked up to him. To have the chance to work so closely with Everos, it would be a lie to say it hadn't been a fantasy they'd imagined in their earlier days at the guild. Fuck. This is this is so wrong, they thought. That was ages ago. Guilt soured their stomach, shame tainting their soft trances that had settled over them. Desperately, Vaughn's huffs showing back against Avros's chest, trying to place as much distance between themselves and Avros. For his credit, he looked only momentarily confused before schooling his impression and taking a step back, hands upright in defeat. Apologies, Vaughn. His gaze was still strangely kind, and it made Vaughn feel guilty. It it's not his fault, but I can't really tell him everything I've been thinking. He'll think I'm crazy. Sorry. Vaughn flushed, crossing their arms and giving Avros a baleful look. Yeah, Avros sighed, and Vaughn was struck by how oddly awkward the man was looking. Looked, how awkward the man looked standing there, his hand rubbing the back of his neck. Well, he smiled. I hope you enjoyed the food. Have a good night, he mumbled. I need water. Hold on. Ah! Ah! I got my water bottle. There. It's super duper cold because it's cold in here. Here. Vaughn nodded quietly, eyeing him as he reached the door. Pausing, Avros looked over his shoulder as he opened it. Sweet dreams, Vaughn, he muttered. His gaze flicked to them for a moment before he quickly turned back to the doorway. Why does he always seem like he never says what he wants to? Vaughn considered. I skipped the ball line. I skipped the line. Oops. It's okay. It's just basically, good evening, Vaughn. Vaughn's heart shot into their throat. How long was he there? Alvaro's soft smile turned wicked as he faced Ball. Good evening, vampire. I'm mixing their voices. And that's the end of chapter 17. And yes, it is actually chapter 17 and not 16 like they have it written. It's weird. So I think I'm gonna end here. Yes, I only streamed for like 40 minutes, but I am with my parents, and so I have to go celebrate my mom's birthday. And I also need to do some research for the White Wolves for tomorrow's stuff. And I also need to work on my story and give my artist another emotion, which means I have to open my story, which is on my laptop, which is where my YouTube is streaming. Hi, YouTube. So I'm definitely ending my YouTube stream, and I'm gonna I'm gonna put my second account up. I think. No. I'm gonna put my second account up so that you can hear and see me while I test my parents. So, bye YouTube. See y'all. When was it? Tomorrow? Because we're testing out the mic. So I'll see YouTube tomorrow. Bye YouTube.